there, comic book people of the world. It is Wednesday, that means it's comic book day, and it's a great day being that this is the last issue for the whole Age of X-Men storyline that was out, and the original X-Men are coming back to the main Marvel continuity. But before I get to that, there's a couple other comic books I read first. Batman, issue number 75, City of Bane, part 1. Apparently, there's a huge time gap from issue number 74 into this issue. We have a Gotham City that is controlled by Bane and several of the different villains that Batman usually faces. The appearance is that they're reformed, but we know that's not really the case. We also have Batman's daddy as the actual Batman, Thomas Wayne, and the superpowered Gotham Girl is his sidekick. This is a really interesting start as to how this is going to be played out, and I am quite interested to see what Tom King, the writer for this series, has planned. Loki, issue number 1. Right off the bat, I do like this series, despite the fact that it mixes in a bit of seriousness, but also a bit of comedy too. The only thing I didn't really like is immediately Loki is already relying on Thor to help him out, because Loki is the king of Jotunheim, I'm not really quite sure how to pronounce that properly, but regardless though, he's neglecting his duties by drinking and gambling, and of course making enemies that he can't handle himself. Like I said, it is a good first issue, and I'm going to continue on reading it. Let's talk about Age of X-Men Omega. This storyline was so incredibly lackluster. It was somewhat hyped up as being like a huge big event, sort of like the Age of Apocalypse story, but really I was just bored all the way through, and I'm glad that it's finally over. Nate Gray had created his own universe where everything was supposed to be perfect for mutant kind, but there is no perfection in the universe, and certain X-Men discovered this, and of course it all ended. We may reference this at certain points down the line, but for the most part I can imagine that most writers are just going to put this under the shelf and say it never happened. Which brings us to Uncanny X-Men issue number 22. Since most of the X-Men have been taken to the Age of X-Men universe, the main universe had Cyclops and Wolverine reform what was left of the mutants so that they can make their own X-Men team. Which they did, and unfortunately several members died under Scott's leadership. Emma Frost had amplified her own powers so that she can now control everyone on the planet and make them forget that mutants ever existed. But there was one person by the name of Callahan who remembered, and this guy was the one that hated mutants the most, and he made a big ruckus in this issue. He was taken care of in this issue. Unfortunately though, a couple more X-Men ended up falling. But the quote-unquote big reveal that we already knew that was going to be happening was that the real X-Men from the other universe had returned back from the Age of X-Men, and it was so incredibly awesome to see them being reunited once again. We even get a panel of Scott and Jean Grey kissing each other in front of Emma Frost, despite the fact that Emma was Scott's boyfriend while Jean was dead. In my head I was just thinking, oh my god, burn! Scott also takes it upon himself to destroy the device that made all humans forget about mutant kind. So now all of humanity now remembers mutants do exist. This is going to be leading into the next storyline, the House of X and Powers of X. I am quite curious as to the direction this is going to go, but it does look like it's really well done, at least from the little promo art that's been shown. Anyways, though I know I'm babbling a lot, it was a good comic book week just so that we can see the end of this damn X-Men storyline. What did you guys read? Leave comments down below and let me know. With that, thank you guys for watching me in this video. Be sure to check out my Patreon site, check out my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, namaste, and I'll see you later. Peace.
I'm in love with a hero.
I forgot to mention that Transformers Ghostbusters issue number 2 from the IDW comic books also came out, but I'll probably talk about that in a separate video.